was committed. Just like David, God has made a vow to each and every last one of us. He says, I will make you the head and not the tail. I will make you above and not beneath. I will make you the lender and not the borrower. So why is it that we see so many Christians being the borrower? Why is it that we see so many Christians being the tail? Why is it that we see so many Christians struggling from day to day to day to day? But God said, if you would just obey my commandments, if you would live by this word, if you would do what this word says, then you wouldn't have to live in a low state of mediocrity. He said, if you would just do what I tell you to do, I will make your enemies your footstool. I will give you what you desire. You will be more than a conqueror if you just begin to obey my word. Now Saul, back to 2 Samuel, the 9th chapter. Saul said, is there anyone left in the house of Saul? Second verse, they brought to him Ziba. And I began to ask the Lord, okay, Lord, you said, is there anyone left in the house of Saul? They brought you Ziba. Ziba was Saul's servant. When you get a servant, that servant becomes part of your house. So why in the world didn't you stop right there? God began to minister to me. And he said, what I have for you, it is for you. He had this plan from the beginning. So somebody in here needs to say, what God has for me, it is for me. No matter what is going on, it is for me. No matter what it may look like, if God said it, it shall come to pass. For the promises of God are yea and amen. God is not a man that he shall lie, neither the son of man that he shall repent. Have not he spoken, cannot he bring it to pass? Amen. It wasn't for Ziba. We're going to skip down to the 3rd verse. And the king said, is there not yet any of the house of Saul that I may show kindness of God unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son which is lame on his feet. Which means that he couldn't use his feet. He couldn't walk. He was crippled. He couldn't do anything. And the king said unto him, where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, behold, he is in the house of Machir, the son of Ammiel and Lodabar. So here's Mephibosheth. He couldn't run. He couldn't walk. He couldn't stand. He was crippled. He was lame. Now, Mephibosheth is the king's grandson. He's the grandson of Saul. His father was the prince, the one that was supposed to take office after the king died. But he's lame in his feet. That's not right. That just don't sit right with me. Now you're a king's kid, and you're lame in your feet. You can't walk. He's not able, because of his lameness, to take his rightful spot in the king's house, in the king's palace. If you understand the characteristics of a king back in that day, kings were normally of great stature. They were strong, somebody that could go to battle, somebody that could slay the enemy, that could give orders. But here's Mephibosheth. He was immobile. He couldn't even move. So he took himself Lodabar. He went to Lodabar. Lodabar is a place of no pasture, no greenery. Lodabar is a place of no communication. It's a place of no life. Some of us are sitting in Lodabar. Some of us have been in Lodabar for too long. You've been in a state of depression for too long. You've been in a state of oppression for too long. You lived as if you are nothing for too long. It's time for us to come out of Lodabar. It's time for us to come out of Lodabar. We've been in Lodabar for too long. So he took himself into Lodabar. But the thing that got me is that when Mephibosheth was crippled, Mephibosheth was not crippled on his own. It didn't happen. Something didn't happen and he became crippled. Let's go to 2 Samuel, the 4th chapter. The Bible tells us, and when Saul's sons heard that Abner was dead in Hebron, his hands were feeble, and all the Israelites were troubled. And Saul's son had 2 men that were captains of bands. The name of the one was Bana, and the name of the other was Rechab, the sons of Ramon, and the birthright of the children of Benjamin also was reckoned to Benjamin. And the birthrights fled to Gideon and were sojourned until this day. And Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son that was lame on his feet. He was 5 years old when the tidings came of Saul and Jonathan out of Jezreel. And his nurse took him up and fled. And it came to pass, as he made haste to flee, that he fell and became lame, and his name was Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth did not become lame by himself. Someone helped him to become lame. But he went on down to Lodabar. And I believe that people began to mock him. I can only imagine, look, he's the grandson of a king. He's lame. He can't even do nothing. He's supposed to be the next one in line. He is nothing. He is just this guy that is down here feeling sorry for himself. And they're talking about him and they're talking about him. And I'm pretty sure that it began to penetrate and he began to feel sorry. He began to get depressed. He began to get oppressed. And he never tried to leave Lodabar. Some of us, that's what has happened to us. We have become crippled in our feet. And we have went to Lodabar.